Hello, Jeremy. I wish you the best, and here's some video feedback on Milestone 1 for you. I generally follow the rubric, but I do that off screen. But if you want, you can open up the rubric, and some of my verbal comments will be reflected in that too. Jeremy, you have a lot of experience. I can see that, and I went back and read your biography, and so hello from the Great Plains to River City. This is very competent, very professional, and I am at a loss really on what to suggest, but I'll forge ahead here. I like your use of Arial, which, as you know, is the prosaic corporate typeface, and I normally don't recommend that people use boxes for text or borders or fancy effects like drop shadows, but you've done so, and it looks very nice. I like the repetitive use of the circular motifs throughout it. The attention to detail on the rounded corners, which reflect these arcs, and the script type, which is not, it's similar to Amethyst Bay script, but it seems to be a bit different, a little bolder perhaps, at a slightly different rake or angle. But nice job. I think it works well. I'm glad the logo isn't too huge. I think the drop shadow does work in this case, and it reflects the other kinds of shadows that you've used. What can I say? The 599 looks a little laterally compressed. I don't recommend distorting type ever, really. There's other, you could find maybe a condensed Arial to replace that with, just a little detail. Perhaps clean up your vertical axes. You even though you want things to appear random, the fewer, I think, vertical and horizontal axes you've got, visually got going on here, the better. I like your horizontal axes, the edge of the surf, and then this one here, that seems to be about right. I like that these are semi-transparent, so you can see what's underneath them a little bit. But anyway, you could clean up this axis, have everything flush left, rag right. Sometimes it's difficult, this sort of visually could create another visual axis. You could just shift this over. But it gives a unobtrusive order, I think, to the page if you align things along a basic grid. Also, do you know about the rule of thirds in composing photographs? It can be used on the page too. The principles are the same. So think about that if you're at a loss on how to organize things visually on a two-dimensional surface. Now, Jeremy, I'm glad you provided a PDF, because that way I can see all of your ingredients. I've opened your file up, your Illustrator file up in the most recent version of Illustrator, I hope. Shoot me a note if this interface doesn't look right. And it's prompting me for some images, which, of course, you have, but I don't. So I can only see them in the thumbnail view of your Illustrator file. So this means that they're linked. I'm sure that you are familiar with, maybe you've taken things to Kinko's, and they weren't, they were perhaps in InDesign or you mean Illustrator. Any linked files, high-res files, you'd have to also include. And I don't know if I missed them in your submission. It's, this is not, I'm just telling you that I don't have all the component parts. This also pertains to typefaces. It's not prompting me for that script, so I'm assuming that it's something that I have. So I'm going to have to click through these and ignore them. It says, here for example, it's looking at shallow focus photo of person. Now, I don't suggest that you include your high-res photos. Find out how to embed them on layers in Illustrator. It is possible to make one compact file. And it's prompting me for these other photos. I suggest I think there's going to be quite a few of them. And so I'll just click through that. Okay, here's how you've done your drop shadows. That's interesting. And let's see if I can zoom. slide around here. Okay, so these are the parts that I can see. Without those, I see you've got them all on their own layers. I can turn them on or off. And you've got, for example, the logo, its component parts you've got also on their own layer. That's nice. So you can turn even parts of the logo mark on or off. Now, I suggest that you use, I think I mentioned the idea of a lockup. Okay, and that is where the type parts of a logo remain in a fixed position or relationship to the graphic parts of the logo, if you will. Good job on using the corporate palette. It doesn't, with the images added, it doesn't look monotonous. Jeremy, I'm probably missing something. I like the aerial view of the beach shot here, and you explained that in your this week's discussion. Oh, that's what I was going to say. Thank you for embedding a JPEG of or an image of your final ad or your almost final ad. It makes it really easy for people to see, and I think it's more enticing to comment on. So, good job. All your previous hard work in building your skills shines through in this class.